Tactics is mad slick, this shit is tragic. They stop 1, 2, 3, it's like a hat trick. Cross check, but they ignore steps if that ain't with their narrative. Then pass the blame cause they ain't having it. Chains on the ballot boxes, catastrophic, but who can stop it? It's not just MAGA hat rockers, it's Democrats suit, playing fast loose, lobbyists, lining pockets and signing documents. It's obvious, con artists and what seems to be the truth is they need legal excuses to keep being abusive. What kind of humanity is that? How you appeal to it? Waiting on a confession, you will be real foolish. Looking for a kind heart, ain't that Breitbart? Might march into your home or drown your ass without a lifeguard. It's not a cartoon, no, yo, it's true life. It's still America, but really it's like two kinds.
When across this country in 2016, there are those who are still trying to deny people the right to vote, we've got to push back twice as hard. Right now, in multiple states, Republicans are actively and openly trying to prevent people from voting, adding new barriers to registration, cutting early voting, closing polling places in predominantly minority communities, refusing to send out absentee ballots, kicking people off the rolls, often incorrectly. This should be a national scandal.
In the United States, across the country, we're kind of in this place with our laws where we see both restrictive laws and expansive laws being passed. It depends on the state you're in, and we sort of see them going back and forth in different places. But we are in an era where there are unfortunately a lot of laws being passed that restrict the right to vote in various ways, that are aimed at voter suppression, that are purporting to do good things or fight against things like voter fraud, but in reality just lead to voter suppression.
We're the only advanced democracy in the world that is actively discouraging people from voting. It's a shame.
These felon disenfranchisement laws are an example of that. They're much older than many of these other kinds of laws that we talk about. They've been around much longer, but they are an example of a law that purports to be accomplishing some legitimate objective. One of them that people have probably heard about a lot are voter ID laws that require people to show some photo ID in order to vote. I think those laws are often offered as a way of fighting against voter fraud.
Between 2000 and 2012, there were 10 cases of voter impersonation nationwide. 10. People don't get up and say, I'm going to impersonate somebody and go vote.
I think time and time again, studies have shown that in-person voter fraud is vanishingly rare, and these voter ID laws are just not necessary to accomplish that goal. And instead, the impact is that they stop a lot of people from voting, and that impact is felt disproportionately on certain populations, people of color, students, elderly folks. We're very excited by the fact that there are some states that are hopefully have made and going to be making progress on these criminal disenfranchisement laws. So I live in New York, and the governor of New York signed an executive order saying that he wanted a list of everybody on parole, and people on parole in New York are barred from voting, to be sent to his office every week so that he could consider them for a partial pardon that would give them the right to vote back. And then he announced he had restored the right to vote to 24,000 people living on parole in New York.
In this state, when you're released from prison and you're on parole, you still don't have the right to vote. Now, how can that be? You did your time, you paid your debt, you're released, but you still don't have a right to vote. At the same time, we're saying we want you part of society, we want you to get back into the community.
You know, just imagining about what it would feel like to step into a voting booth and vote. It's something that I kind of don't think all the way out, because I get a little sentimental, and sometimes it might get me a little teary-eyed just to think about that, because I know I've seen it. I've seen men and women who, on one hand, would say that they didn't care about voting, and come to find out that they said that because they thought that they couldn't vote, and then when they found out that they could, seeing how tears would just stream down their face, and then being with them when they go to vote for the first time and watching that look when they come out and how their eyes are red from crying. And, you know, that it's, I know it's going to be a powerful moment, because as an American citizen, like I said, nothing speaks more to citizenship than having that opportunity. And for someone who has lost it and have been yearning for it for quite a number of years, to be able to get it back, I know it's going to be a very emotional time. Let's be very clear with this. Any critic that's against this, right, are masking their reasons. At the end of the day, you know, I don't think it's hardly anyone that would say that they don't ever want to be forgiven for what they've done. That's what we're talking about the part that a person has paid a debt. It's time for them to move on. You cannot continuously make someone pay that debt. The other part of this is that if your decision about whether or not a person convicted of a felony who have paid their debt should be allowed to vote again, if it's based in whole or in part on how you think they may vote, then your opposition is anti-American, it's anti-patriotic, it's undemocratic, because you're looking to suppress someone's vote because they don't vote like you. And that is not what America is all about. America is about creating a more inclusive democracy. America is about having a diversity of opinions and positions, and we coming together as a nation and working through those things. Whenever you have to decide about whether or not you want to support restoring the ability to vote to someone, and in the back of your head you're thinking about how they may vote or may not vote, there's inherently a problem with that. When we talk about an inclusive democracy, we mean that we want an inclusive democracy for everyone.
Really gets a war zone. How you feel though? Sounding like a broken record, but it's real though. Sounding like a joke, you saying we're equal. The black code still a fact though, yeah, it's real, yo. A black hole if you call it what it is. 3-hour wait for the black vote, what it is. Average wait for a polling place, 20 minutes. They know they ain't right taking names off the list. They ain't taking doubles off when it's James Smith. But soon as it's my brothers though, they turning plain tip. Dead man walking, dead woman, dead kids. Set you up to fail every step, every trip. They say you paid your debt, but it's only on paper though. You still in the system, they just got you on laser scope. How come only cons in Vermont and the Maine can vote? Pendulum in the swing states, and whose favor though? They say there's not slaves no more. They say they ain't racist, oh. They say we free, explain it though. Or how we make it so. They say there's not slaves no more. They say they ain't racist, oh. They say we free, explain it though. Or how we make it so.